Good evening, folks, from a dreadfully dreary, wet, miserable, but I suppose it is winter, North Devon. It's absolutely the weather I detest down here. So hopefully this is coming in because we've got a terrible signal down here. Unfortunately, though, we've got fibre. It's fibre that goes across some pretty grim, pylons. And so therefore it's... trees hit them and things, so I'm not sure if this is even going to work, but we will try, as we always do. We will attempt to endeavour, but it doesn't look so good so far. Nothing's happening, or if it is, it's not happening very well. I can't get anything up on my screen. This is what I hate about Sundays. I always get to the stage where, is it going to work? And 9 times out of 10 it doesn't, and the comments don't come up, and yeah, it doesn't look like it's working, folks. Can anybody hear me, see me? Oh, here we go. Simon Ossel, Ian Rooker. Thank God for that. Oh, the pressure. Happy New Year. Likewise to you, Darren. James, we're speaking tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So looking forward to that. So, well, a few people are here. That's the main thing. So, if you've got any questions, ask away. Neil Watson, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Let's hope it's a better one. Healthy, happy, prosperous. A better world in general would be nice, wouldn't it? But let's talk about fishing. So if you've got any questions, just fire them out. Keith will be joining me, Keith Powell, a team member. And breathe. Yeah, I should do a bit of sitting in a corner, shouldn't I? Pete Paddock, how you doing, mate? Happy New Year. No, it always does my head in. It does my head in because we've got this fibre that runs through the trees and poles everywhere. And when it's stormy like it is now, the trees hit it, and apparently that disrupts it all. Because they won't dig them underground. Because apparently, don't get me on politics. I'll stay away from that. So yes, Ian, and breathe. But at least we got it, and we're off and running. Good evening, Colin. Hope you are well. So what have you got to do today? Andre all the way from Slovakia. Thanks for doing that film, putting up on the team page earlier. Great to see the team growing and growing. Don't forget, if you're not a team member, it's free to join. Just go over to my website, powertracks.co.uk, and come and join us. 26 people joined today, so lots of people getting involved with it. Anthony, how you doing? Heidi Simmons, when are you coming to see us, Heidi? Missing out on talking to Monksy. Tell him I'm still here. Alan, good evening. Daniel, good evening. So before we kick off too far, Ian Brookman, good evening. We're actually not on the Team Power Tracks page this evening, Ian, but I know what you're saying, and a great write-up today about your conquering efforts on the River Itchen. Well done, mate. Great read. Happy New Year as well to Stephen Howlett. So what I'm going to show you to kick off with, good evening, there's too many people. Congrats for New Year, and congrats to all involved in the mag. Yes, well, we'll touch on the mag because... and Ian's just come, with Catch More Fish, the new Power Tracks magazine has gone live. It came out the 1st of January. It's floating out there somewhere in the ether, but it has gone down well. I mean, it's we're not having it crammed full of adverts and things like that. It's very much, yes, there's Power Tracks in there, but I can't really help that because I've developed Power Tracks to help us to catch more fish. But they're not out and out ramming stuff down your throat. It's a lot of information stuff, a lot of stories, just a nice kind of feel of angling of all species as well. So the first one we got to bed, it was not the easiest thing in the world to put together, but I think without Keith I wouldn't have even bothered because he's switched on in that kind of thing. But quick one, what discount do team members get for Top Cats? Oh, it's up to 15% during the slow season. I think it's 5% during the high season, but if you drop me a message I can find out for you for definite. I just can't remember off the top of my head and get back to you. But also, if not, feel free just to go direct to Simon Cruddace, Cruddace, who's the owner of Top Cats, and he will tell you what's available and what everything is. So there you go, Anthony. But don't forget, we're going out there. We've got the Top Cats fishing on the end of November this year. There's still 2 places that are heavily discounted for that one. So if you're interested, Paul Perch, bonjour. So just to let you know what tonight's prize is, a little bit different because they're not officially on the market, though Team Palatrax members can now get them. So they're not in the official packaging, but it is the new Eagle Waves in 6, 8s and 10s. So let me try and show you. So it's an offset hook, as you can see. I never ever know how to get this in focus, so I do apologise. Outturned eye, so it's like the Predator hook, but obviously micro size grips, obviously a cutting point again. So all you've got to do, if you would like to be in a chance of winning 3 packets of the first sets that are coming out, just oh, there we go, Tinny's put out a message on that. So howdy from Canada, that's Will over there, Steve Bryce, sorry I'm missing a few people. So yes, so if you want to win the a packet, all you got to do is send yes to the Palatrax Facebook Messenger page. It's the Palatrax Facebook Messenger, not like Team One, this is the Palatrax Facebook Messenger. I hope that makes sense. Very interesting. We've been tying hooks up with them, tying rigs, especially Steam Link. They're working from the off down here, and it was to be anticipated with no arrogance. I mean, they're a really good Japanese manufacturer again. So, yes. Well, I think, Ian, you got the first packet. I think they're coming out to you tomorrow, sir. So, yeah, if you'd like to win a packet of those. So I'm waiting for Keith to join me. I know he's had some issues down in. We're obviously getting away with the weather down here because he's been out without power all day over in Essex. I don't know if anybody else is getting grungy weather. I see this. Oh, there we go. Keith has just popped up. I'll be with you in 2 seconds, Keith. So that's cool. And Keith's going to come and talk. Already got TV. Oh, not too sure what that says. So I have a couple of questions here. I'll do one. And there's a Team Fishing. All right, sorry. Tinny's on in the back seat, background doing some posts for me here. Russ Bradley is asking, I'd love grips to nylon, fluoro in smaller sizes. Now, there's a 2 parts to this question, so I'll go through. I'll come back to. Oh, it's all flooding in. Oh, you've got them already, Ian. No, that's Tinny. She's absolutely awesome. Well done. Putting hooks, grips are really expensive to make, and I'm not saying that because I'm involved with them and it's my design and things like that. What you're doing when you got hook manufacturers, there's things that you can spend more money on. Mr. Monks, good to see you. Steve Thompson. And one thing is the point, the actual physical point, the shape of the point and the finish. And the other thing is the actual, for us, the grips grooves. So I've gone for the best hook point with manufactured fact is the cutting point. It's stronger, sharper, and far more durable. So you catch lots of fish. I don't believe in one fish, one hook, one rig kind of thing. I think that's dreadful on so many different levels. But also the grips grooves are imprinted after the manufacturing process. So for me to bring them out and go up against like brands who are doing hooks and nylon for match and small fish, it's impossible for me to do because I just can't, because the hooks cost so much more. It's like the trebles. People say to me, your trebles are more expensive. And that's because you've got 3 cutting points and 3 remanufacturing, if you want, of those points. So that is always a problem as it stands at the moment. So, sorry, Russ, but that's where we are. They are just really expensive hooks. And people look at me and say, oh, they're all hooks are the same. And they're just not, it's one of those kind of old wives' tales where people are just looking at the shape and saying, well, they must all cost the same. Well, they don't. There's better quality wires. And like I say, cutting point is expensive. Grips, grooves are expensive. So, but the other thing I can do, and I can give you a sneak preview, though it's the first stages, we're currently testing these. A lot of people ask me for a longer shank and things like that, and I'm a fan of some of the rigs. I don't muck around with too many rigs personally, but so longer shank hooks. This is, and hopefully you can see that. So that is the hook I've designed, and now we're going to be playing around with that. It'll take several months. but that is going to be the new Longshank. Very, very much inturned eye, and the mechanics of it really do work. Very aggressive turn. So yeah, and anybody who doesn't know what this is mostly from fly tying. But if you struggle to tie your own rigs, this is a great big kit. So this is how you use to tie flies. You mount your hook back to front, as I'm showing you here. But if you're just tying normal hair rigs, it's a great bit of kit. They're not expensive. You get them on eBay. I think I paid like less than £20 for this, and it's all brass and bells and whistles, and does exactly what I do. You just literally put it onto the bottom of a table, screw it in. This lever here opens and closes, and you can really set it firm in there. So there you go. Happy New Year, Dom. And Happy New Year, Galen. Hope you're well, sir. Speaking to you later this week. Right, so now what I'm going to do is bring on Keith. But before I do that, I'll just say again, if you want a chance to win, they're not even on the market officially yet. The new Eager Wave patterns in 6, 8s and 10s. Just send yes through to the Powertrax Facebook Messenger page. That hook is looking prime for a Fluoro D setup. Well, Ian, I'll be speaking to you about it later this week. So here we go. We're going to bring on the editor and friend and fellow team member of Powertrax, Keith, if it all goes well. So let me press that button, see if I've got it right. It says adding, so that's always a good start. Have a quick slurp of milk. I'm waiting for my cup of tea. I think if I say it loud enough. Oh, it's stewing.
Hello.
There's the man himself.
There you go.
Keith Powell. You need no introduction.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm sitting here, look. Right. I'm out in my garage.
Wow.
Yeah, no heating yet, so I've got a little water bottle ready for me. Which is another good tip if you're going winter fishing. A couple of water bottles, lovely.
Water bottles, for years, I was winter fishing. I wake up in the morning, the inside of a bivvy was coated in ice and things like that. And Tim Hodges, actually, it wasn't that long ago, it was only about 10 years ago, he said, well, don't you use hot water bottles? And it changed my winter fishing completely. Having 2 of those, you can keep on recycling the water. I know your kettle starts to smell a bit rubbery, but I tell you what, they're actually amazing. Right, hang on a second. I've got a question here from Will.
Yes.
Oh, where's that gone? We can hear you. So standby one. From an inside perspective, were Kevlar rods simply a fad, or was carbon just a superior, cheaper option? The reason I'm asking, I love my old Sportex Kevlar rods, and I'm seeing that few Kevlar rods are being produced anymore. I'm seeing that few, right? I mean, to be quite honest, obviously being in the trade for so long and having my own tackle shops one thing another, a lot of this stuff comes and goes. Does it really create anything more than a bit of a stir on the market to incentivize people to? It's a bit like the £4 rods at the moment. You're seeing companies bring out £4 rods and people buying them, and they're totally impractical for 99.999% of the fishing. So Kevlar is more expensive, and therefore it's more difficult to work with, from what I understand. So therefore, people don't use it. It was bought out. It's really like the carrot rods. Remember the carrot rods were bought out, or the is it Oxygen rods when they got 8 sides and things. So many things have been bought out that are faddy. They come for a bit and then they disappear. And if the irony, I suppose, is if you look at it, we all go back full circle to where we are now. You've got carbon fibre. You still have some mixes of carbon fibre, but obviously with the new Powertrax rods, I've been getting quite involved with it, and yeah, I would personally go more along the line of fad, more along the line of it being expensive, more expensive to mass produce, and also at the end of the day, you know, top grade carbon fibre. I think you're going to have a job to beat it. So there you go. Feel a right up on hot water bottles coming. That's from Ian Rooker. So that's another one for you to. So I'm going to actually shut up for a couple of seconds. I've got my cup of tea. I'm melting in the house here. It's so hot.
Oh, good.
No. Put the hot water bottle away. No, so Keith, tell us all about, because you're the man behind the scenes, the man who made it happen. And we're not trying to like wave this huge flag for Catch More Fish, the magazine, the email, e-line thing job. I'm used to anything techie, but Keith can tell you where to get it from. But it is just a genuine initiative where we're trying to produce another resource, aren't we, for anglers of all experiences.
Well, and that's it really. You know, in a nutshell, it's not about, you know, obviously there's going to be some bits and pieces in there about Palatrax because, you know, we're producing a magazine, but it is purely down to giving people some more information just around general fishing. Now, there'll be the people out there, the detractors out there that have, you know, their own opinions. However, you know, if you're just new to fishing, or you're just getting back into it, or you want to just try something different, then that's what we're going to be offering. But we're going to be offering it from a sort of fact-based position. So we'll all be out, you know, myself, yourself, we'll be out fishing, whether it's with the new Palatrax products or whether it's with some other things that come into market. We'll be out there fishing with those, and then we'll give our honest and true opinion of what they are and how they are and how you want to use it. But before we sort of really go into it, I want to just thank a couple of people. So there's 3 people who contributed to the magazine. Well, obviously, Pom, you contributed, but that's just part of the course. But obviously, Maya, if you've read the magazine, Maya Holmesy, she's one of the team members. She's been down to Ashmansworthy and done a couple of sessions down there. She's sort of given herself an introduction to herself and her fishing. So thank you, Maya, for that. And again, with Lee Jackson on the perch fishing piece that he did, really appreciate that. And then we've got Galen, who's doing the Galen Yarrex, who's doing the Canadian piece, which will be a feature every month, obviously, to see how the Canadian guys get on, and also with his underwater fishing, which I'm really interested in, especially with the diving that we're going to be doing this year, and a lot more of it. But the underwater
Sorry,
fishing,
can I just butt in?
yes.
Well, we're good at the end of this to explain, because again, you're the man behind the diving, you're the accredited diving instructor, so perhaps go into a little bit more detail, if you don't mind, towards the end.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, obviously thanks to Galen and to Lee and to Maya. And then just a sort of an update on the competition. So if you haven't entered the competitions yet, then I think you should. I have got a little bit of a confusion out there because I don't know why all the numbers aren't the same. But the Ben's Pool competition at the minute is winning with the number of entries. So we've got 161 entries into the Ben's Pool competition. Print Biz is at 111, iBite's 110. And then we go pretty much with a muchness around the 90 mark on the grips, glugs, boosters, and gamma. Now, all the competitions are free to enter. And we haven't had a wrong answer yet, Tom. Surprisingly enough, we haven't had a wrong answer.
That's got Matt right. I hasn't had a go yet.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I like it, Matt. But maybe I've made the questions too easy. I don't know. But there you go. And then we've had 15 questions into the editor this month already. So so that's encouraging. So we're now. I just want to point out that I am not the sort of Yoda of all things fishing. So Ask the Editor is out there for you to put your questions into us, and we will find, whether it's me or somebody else, the expert that can answer the question. I'm not going to make any answers up. As we said, this is a truthful magazine, and we are going to, the questions are coming to me. I will either answer them if I can. If not, I'll find somebody who's got a better expert knowledge than myself to give the answer out there, because we want it all based on fact. We don't want to make anything up. And I certainly don't want to discredit the magazine by just putting some nonsense out there that I might think is okay. So just to put it out there, that's what happens when Ask the Editor question comes in. I deal with them all, but I might farm them out to someone who's got better knowledge than me.
I think just to jump in there, yeah, as is my want, I do apologise. You know what I'm like, Keith. But I think the issue we will come up against, not that I care in real terms, and that's not said with arrogance, is we will come up with some detractors. But all I can do, on behalf of both of us, because we are really instrumental behind it. Obviously, there's loads of people helping, from, you know, Keith's wife to my wife to, you know, there's loads of things happening. but I can promise you it's only ever going to be honest,
Mm.
honest opinions. They might not sit with every. I think that's what make it interesting, because there is another mindset, another narrative to say. If we all just focus on the narrative that's pushed by all the brand leaders, well, I don't see how we're going to move forward. We're going to stay stagnant like we have for a number of years. And if anything, by people not talking about other tactical approaches, talking about ingredients of baits, talking about other elements of fish safety that I've never covered, I don't see how it would be an interesting magazine, because we'll just be replicating everything else that's said out there. And we're not doing it to be bloody minded. We're doing it because it's what we believe, it's what we see. You know, there's a huge depth of experience, you know, nearly getting on towards 4,000 members in Team Palatrax, you know, from shopkeepers to fishery owners to stalwarts within the industry. It goes on and on. And I suppose our duty, and where both myself and Keith come from, is that we've got things that we can share, not to try and make you buy Palatrax stuff. If you do get behind Palatrax, all well and good, you know, it's designed to help you catch small fish. But it's more about showing others what we were shown as we've come through our angling journeys. And believe it or not, I know I look so much younger than Keith. We're actually the same age. 32, isn't it? Are we 32, Keith, or something like that?
Don't make me cough. I'm
It's because you're cold. You're going to get really ill now out there. So, but like you said, the editor questions and things like that, there's a panel of us that we will literally, you know, put our 5 pennies worth in. But it's not to try and flog you anything. I can promise you. That's from the heart. That's the truth. It's trying to give a resource to anglers of all experiences, and also an angling voice. We're not going to be led by who's advertising. I mean, we're promoting some companies because they're giving us some competition prizes, which is fantastic. But outside of that, it's down to an informative, fun, refreshing resource. Is that about right, Keith?
Well, yeah, it is, and I think it sort of leads us on nicely. So we are looking for other team members, or, you know, Palatrax people. Obviously we're not on the team page today, but we need some people out there that might want to, who may have written features before for other magazines, or they spend a fair amount of time on the bank and they do something else. It might be that they do fly fishing, or they might go salmon fishing. There might be some other interests out there. Now, this is not a carp magazine. This is a multi-species magazine, and we do need some input from some other people that may do, like Lee put on one about perch fishing. You know, there's the other predators out there. Pike, we're going to do a section on, and then we're going to get into sort of the tench fishing, and then even down as far as gudgeon fishing, if people want to, you know, even talk about that, because I caught my first gudgeon for many year back in November, and I was over the moon. But we are going to need a few people. If they want to, they can contact me direct at keith@palatrax.co.uk. And if they fancy doing a feature writing, it needs to be 2 or 3 pages with a few photos, some nice, decent photos. And I can help them through that. So if they're not used to writing or whatever, I can help them through that. And we can get some interesting features out there from our team members and from people that follow Palatrax. I would just point out that we are on the main Palatrax page today. In the magazine, if you've read it, you'll see there's a link there to join the Palatrax team, and it's absolutely free. Joining the team is free. Fill in a little form that will take you directly to that form. You can fill it in. Pom looks at every single one of them, and then you get discount off your product if you want to buy from Palatrax. For me, it's a no-brainer. But we're on the main page today. If you haven't joined already, and I know Pom's had a few people join in the last 2 or 3 days, we're yet to work out whether it's coming through the magazine or just through the natural progression of Palatrax. But next month we might be able to see it a little bit differently with the magazine. But if you want to join Palatrax, just pop onto the magazine and it'll take you, the link will take you straight there. And there's other links as well. We've tried to make this magazine as non-flat, if that's a word, as we can. We've got videos embedded into it, so if there is a product that's there, whenever we've got something that we want to demonstrate, if there's a product that we can demonstrate through video, so you can see it in its working state rather than just us describing it on a flat magazine, we're going to do that. There's also links within the magazine, so if you hover over certain parts of the magazine, you'll find there's links. Now, whether that takes you to the Ashmansworthy Pools website, so if you put into to Ben's Pool and you want to have, you know, the opportunity to fish at Ben's Pool, there's a link there to take you to the Ashman's Worthy Pools site, so you can actually have a look at what fish are in there, you know, the facilities that are available as well. So we've dotted links about just so that you can sort of find your way around the interweb, as it were.
Sorry, Keith, can I just jump in? I don't want to be a bit. Sam Roth, Robert Gleed, thanks ever so much for your messages of hello and Happy New Year. And also Ian Brookman and Will from Canada. Oh, Billy Joe, good evening. And Will from Canada are offering their services already. So
yeah.
I'm sure we'll tie up with Galen as well, because obviously Galen's going to be doing monthly features. So we will be speaking to you very well. I'll speak to you all within the call this week anyway. So because we've got products for testing. But yeah, do reach out to Keith as well, because he's the man at the helm.
Yeah, and there's other things that we've sort of that have fell into our lap, shall we say. Now, a bit of my background, I've never been an editor in my life, really. My background was 40 years of retail. So taking on this magazine has been a challenge for myself, which I've thoroughly enjoyed, as Pom knows, because we have a conference call every week for maybe a couple of 3 hours that goes longer than we planned, but as always, these things do. But I'm enjoying it. But also what I've been able to find is some other things that might help us going forward. So at the moment, we're on the main Palatrax page, and next week we'll be on the team page. There's some bits and pieces out there that I found that, you know, may be able to, you know, we'll be on both pages at exactly the same time. So rather than having to alternate and you having to flick between the two, you can just join from whatever page you're on.
Can I just mention that, and I say this with all love and caring, Keith is a geek, and what he's managed to do within a couple of months now, compared to where I can just about send a text, the stuff he's finding, which is going to make it really, really exciting for us, and how he can integrate video, like Will's saying, digital format. I wouldn't have had a clue. So I doff my cap, sir, because like I say, it's great to have somebody with that kind of knowledge and being backed up with other people that are supporting Keith. It's really quite cool. And I think, as Keith is saying, well, I don't think I know, you know, by Keith with his inquisitive mind looking at all the different things that are now available to us. It's he's got his little workers in the background working away and all these kind of things that will become apparent in time. It really is exciting. We're both loving it, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And that's the thing. We both had conversations probably over the last 3 or 4 weeks, because this, you know, we want to make it clear it's not been an easy job to put a magazine from the start to land it on the 1st of January as we did. I mean, we were still working up on it until sort of the 31st, so I think it's going to be a little bit easier this month, hopefully. But it's been a tough ride, obviously, learning new bits and pieces for ourselves, but it's been really interesting. And you know, the amount of meetings that we've had now, and sort of because we've had to get used to each other and how we operate and work, and, you know, we've still got lives to lead and bits and pieces. I might be retired, but, you know, the reality is I've still got other things I have to get on with, like, you know, horses and bits and pieces. But it's been a really interesting journey for the last sort of 6-8 weeks. And there is so much out there that we think we can bring to the party. And only you will tell us whether it's right or wrong. I mean, yeah, the readers will tell us whether we're on the right track or not. And at the minute, we've had a lot of positives. Now, that's really nice because, you know, we put it out there and not knowing really the reaction we was going to get. Yeah, we hoped for a reaction because it's basically our baby. But the feedback so far, looking on Facebook and elsewhere, has been really positive. So we do appreciate that, and thank you for that. And
I think as well, Keith, the fact is that there is no hidden agenda. We have got the passion, we have got the skill sets and people also to tap into. So it's, and we haven't got pressure of advertisers, you know, we have to do this, we have to do that. We can, you know, it's our journey and the reader's journey. We can do and take it wherever we want to go. You know, it's designed to be non-profit. You and I, we're doing it out of the love of well, doing something, actually having kind of some kind of legacy that we can show people how to improve their fishing and fish safely in delicate environments and things like that. So I think because it's written with that passion, and like I say, we're doing it for all the right reasons, and also we're both anglers, so we know what we want to read. We want to read exciting stuff and informative stuff, and as I said right at the beginning, we both agreed the idea was when you put the magazine down, so to speak, when you turn over the last page, you're looking forward to the next one because you've learned something. It might be just a tiny little gem within the rough, but at least you've learned something from it, and then you can carry that message on, and we can all help and learn together.
And look, we've put it out there across multi-formats, so we're not looking at this as being a team magazine. We're talking about it obviously on the main Palatrax page as well. But if you can share it with anyone, if you've got anglers that don't have access to the Facebook, or not everyone uses Facebook, not everyone uses YouTube. Some people don't use social media at all. But if you've got fishermen in your family, friends, or community that you think, you know what, you might just want to have a read over a coffee, then share it with them. You can. There's a share button on it, so you should be able to just share the whole link straight to them, and they should be able to read it. And as Pom says, it's not for profit. It's not a chargeable magazine. We're not asking people to bung us a load of money just so that we can push one of their products. Purely, there will be Palatrax products in there that we discuss because they're the ones that we use. I'm not going to go down the road of promoting somebody else's product that I don't actually agree with or use. So there will obviously be Palatrax products in there, and it is a Palatrax magazine, and we make no excuses for that. But it's not a Palatrax mantra. It's whether it's about fish safety, whether it's about fishing Burfield, whether it's we will give a warts and all sort of account of wherever we may fish, which sort of leads me on to sort of the final point for me really is around this year. We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming. So
sorry, can I just
yes,
sorry. When I used to do these talks with Tim Hodges, there was always like some apples or something, and I used to lift up an apple, and that's when I wanted to interject. So I'll just use my thing. Could you just, because you're far better than this, could you just tell people who will watch this going forward on YouTube, or whatever, where they can actually find the magazine if they're interested and they haven't seen the magazine? Where will they be able to find it?
So if you go onto the, I've embedded it now. So if you go onto the actual Palatrax website, and you go into the news part on one of the little tabs across the top where it says news, and drop down, it says newsletters currently. We might change that to Palatrax magazine. But at the moment it says newsletters, and in that newsletter, if you click on there, the first edition of the magazine is sitting there waiting for you to have to click on and read. So you can send anyone you like to the Palatrax website, and just click on the news across the top, and in the newsletter section you'll find the magazine. Equally, it's dotted about, and you'll see posts from myself coming up over the next sort of 5 to 7 days, just once a day, just saying, just get involved. If you want to join have a competition, get in the competition. It seems to be working because the numbers have gone up slightly this morning. So it is all over social media, but that's the main place you're going to be able to find it to start with. There are going to be other opportunities because we are looking at going onto YouTube. We are looking at linking the two Facebook sites as we do lives, and there's TikTok we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to be looking at.
I'm sitting here thinking you're going to be doing it.
I can't speak for Pom. I can't speak. It'd be me in the background.
I'll make a tea.
Yeah, and I'm working alongside Tinny, Pom's wife, who's a little bit more
intelligent. Go on, say it.
Technically minded, shall we say? But leading on sort of the rest of it, obviously we do want to get some interest from some other people that might do some weird and wonderful fishing. I saw go on the team page to do Zander fishing. I've never fished for a Zander, so that would be an interesting one for me, if I'm honest. So something like that, anything like that. But we're also, I'm a qualified scuba diving instructor with Paddy. I've been doing it for about 12 years now. Normally I go to the lakes and I would teach people how to dive in a lake. Most of my time is spent making sure that they come up from the bottom fairly safely. So I don't really get a lot of chance to look around unless I'm having a sort of a pleasurable dive at the end of it, where we're all sort of having a mooch around, and we might come across a little sunken boat that someone's sunk, and we might find a pike or a perch or something dotted around. But this year, as Pom is also qualified as a diver, and if you've seen anything on the Palatrax page, where myself and Pom dived one of his lakes last year to get
You can't miss me. There's some Japanese chasing me with a harpoon.
Yeah, so we took a big sort of monolith out of one of the lakes, but we are going to do a little bit more of that this year. We've got one planned for around March, and then obviously as the warmer months come on, it'd be nicer to get into the lakes. But we're going to do some stuff around. I mean, a lot of people talk about line laying. A lot of people talk about, well, tight line versus slack line. Well, we're going to show you what it really looks like. So we're going to do some things like that, where we'll send out a tight line, and obviously we'll have somebody on the bank send out a tight line, and then we'll follow the line lay back with video, so underwater footage, which will show you that actually a tight line is not necessarily always a tight line. And then slack line, what does that look like? Casting into weed, if you've got a method ball rat stone, for example, what does that look like? So we're going to show you what some rigs look like as they land in the water underneath, and just to give you sort of an insight into what's in the water, rather than make the assumption that we all do at the minute, which is, I've cast my rig out, I've made my rig the best I can, I'm pretty sure it's landed and laying the way I want it to land. We're going to show you whether it does or it doesn't.
And it is going to be a warts and all, isn't it? Because we're there to learn, folks, the same as you. I mean, having, again, Keith as a resource from being an accredited instructor, with all the kit and, from underwater metal detectors through to arc lights, you name it, we're going to put it into it. Because, again, I'm not trying to be controversial here. There's a lot of underwater footage out there that is obviously super edited. It's telling you a theme or a format or a design. You've got stuff like Will and Galen are doing out in Canada, which is very much warts and all, so we're seeing really what goes on. But obviously, with my contacts in the industry, we've got access to a huge amount of different waters running and still, and the owners of those waters are interested to see what's happening, what kind of things may or may not be happening with snags, and it goes on and on. So it's going to be a really interesting journey, because again, there's no hidden agenda. We're not thinking we're going to have to say this or we're going to have to do this. If we cast out a method ball, and obviously there's so many variables, we know that, and it does something wrong, or doesn't present well, or what, we're going to show, because nobody can learn if we're all following a contrived narrative, because we all then go off on the same route, and if it's not the right route, we're all going to go off and do it wrong. So we're really looking forward to that as well, isn't it? Because we're going to learn.
Well, that's it. I mean, the reality is, anyone, we could take any rig out we like, and we can dive down to the bottom, and we can place it on the lake bed, and we can maneuver it how we would really like it to have landed, and then go back and see if we can catch a fish. The reality is, what we're going to do is get someone to cast out, hopefully miss us, but they're going to cast out, we're going to follow it down, and it's just going to be, that's it. That's how it landed. Is that what you was expecting? If it was, brilliant. If it wasn't, what can we do differently? Can you adapt anything? Can we work on that rig, just to make it? You're always going to have a variable, but to make it as good as we can make it. But yeah, we're not going to. There's nothing contrived. If it lands right side up, brilliant. If it lands upside down, we'll let you know.
Well, I think what's happening now, because I do, and I probably bore people on the team page by putting them up, but I've discovered a few other people who are doing what I would say is uncontrived underwater footage. There's one guy who's it just shows you how many times fish are getting away with it, time after time, and that acceptance that we are where we are. I've been doing this for the better part of 30 years now. And have we really moved on from 30 years ago? Is there been any, what I would call true innovation to actually kind of help us to catch more fish in a safe and responsible manner? I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of it, but in all honesty, I see little if any, true innovation. And what it'll do for us is also give us that opportunity to innovate further, isn't it? To improve on what we're doing already. for all the right reasons. You know, I've always put performance over profit. Let's get it right, and then go from there. And that's going to be a very, very important thing personally for me, as kind of one of the folks, if not the main guy behind designing products and seeing how things work. Seeing, you know, when I've got access to different things, you know, we're kind of guessing if it's going to work, or we're following certain manufacturers or certain narratives. But I'm going to be much more happier by literally being able to do it myself.
Well, the example of that would be, because obviously I've dived all over the world, and yeah, if I'm diving, I don't know, in Egypt, I probably wouldn't dive less, further than 18 meters unless I want to go and see a wreck, because after that there's nothing to see. In a lake, I want to know from my own sort of angling experience is, if I've got a pink pop-up sitting on the bottom, what colour is it when it gets there? Because I know through my diving that colours disappear the deeper you go. If you're fishing a 20-foot reservoir, that red dot is unlikely to be a red dot anymore. And I think we can showcase that by taking the torches down, maybe in some of the deeper parts of the lake, and showcasing with the torch off and with the torch on what colour it really looks like. And
also furthering up, it's not just about what we see or we assume we're seeing, about what fish are actually sensing, because that to me is the most interesting thing. I think we have gone down the route of, if we see it, therefore the fish must see it. Yeah. Well, it doesn't work like that. I mean, I'm very much into fish biology as much as I can, being the kind of technophobe I am, but trying to find the right resources, you know, like from fish farming especially, there's no agenda there to sell fishing tackle. They're just going to tell you the truth. And we're going to go out there, and I mean, I've done some stuff historically in Vinkerveen, out in near Amsterdam, places like that, and it's pretty shocking when you say, right, I'm going to cast out and I'm going to follow my line, and I think I'm doing this. I'm thinking, I can remember once casting out off these little islands. It's really interesting. It's a huge body of water. It's an amazing bit of canal systems and big boats, and you know, it's like an ongoing sea, to be fair, but it's gin clear, full of mussels. And I can remember casting out one stage and following this beautiful sunny day, and I was following my line. There was a mate on the island. I was just following, the line just stood out. You know, again, we know fish can sense the changes in water pressure, but you know, to me, I was looking at this is just this shiny, horrible thing which was piercing through the water. And as I was getting closer, I'd given it a bit of a hoof. Up in front of me, say gin clear, was this big cabbage, one of these big cabbages they have out there in their waters, and I could see past it. There's a snorkeling mask, obviously, and my line was going through the water, and it was going over the top of this cabbage and gone down the other side. And as I was getting towards it, I could see like this shimmering. You know, when you drive down the road and you get that shimmer on the road, it was like that in the water. I was thinking, what's going on? And I go over the top, and there's a 12-pound bream sat hooked and just sitting there flapping away, and I had no idea whatsoever. And it does, those kind of things have taught me big lessons over time, really have taught, and that's what we're going to be doing, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think that'll be, we hope that's going to be an interesting sort of articles for people to see the warts and all. And as we said, it's not contrived. We're not going to go out there and make it look really pretty. We're going to actually go out there and see what it really looks like on the base of the lake bed, whether that's in the margin, whether, you know, and we'll do some margin fishing. We'll do some margin shots, we'll do some deeper shots, we'll do weed shots, so that you know where, you know, what it's like to, because I know a lot of people avoid fishing in weed, and we're not talking about the really heavy duty stuff. You want to try and drag a fish for it, but people avoid fishing weed because the perception is it's difficult. We want to try and show that actually you can fish in weed safely, with the right rig and stuff, but we'll show you from an underwater perspective, as opposed to, let's assume what happens once you cast out into weed. So I think those sort of things are going to come forward over the next few months. Obviously, probably around about October they'll stop, because it gets a little bit chilly. I mean, I take students down in October, but I'm not sure that I'd want to be sitting around doing some fishing bits and pieces November, December in the lakes.
We'll
So
have
March is the
more than
start.
enough to do. But the other thing is that I have just got permission for us, I haven't told you this, Keith, for us to dive the Kennet on a private stretch of the Kennet. So that'll be interesting as well. Because,
Yes.
there is a limited amount of underwater footage on rivers, but very, very, very limited. So, and this one's got weir pools at either end, and yeah, that'll be an exciting one to bob and float on down. I don't know what happened there. Somebody just came up and a question came up. There's a few Mark Monks. I'm guessing that's Hardy Monks is taking the mickey out of me. Nothing changes. But somebody just came up and said about fish being picky, and I don't know if it's suddenly disappeared. But you're right. You know, whoever said that fish can be picky. Yeah, every lake is. I always look at a lake is almost like a different planet. You know, the fish that live in that lake or body of water, they don't leave that. You know, it's not like they know what's outside of it, and their traits. I go far. I mean, people don't necessarily agree with me, but if you look at fishery science, individual fish can have their own traits. So, you know, like all common carp, for example, look the same. It doesn't mean they are the same.
No, they've got their own behaviours.
Exactly. What's Lee saying? We're good to see stones holding bottom of the river. Yeah, we've got access to the Y as well, Lee. So we're going to do a lot. Because I say the good thing about this magazine, the good thing about Palatrax, and unfortunately or fortunately, whatever you want to look at it, carp is the buzzword. But there is loads of other things out there that we could do if we've got the water clarity. I mean, the shame is obviously my lakes are silt, you know, heavily silted and heavily clayed. So you're never going to. Now you've got the clearest they are, and it's still be. You know, not very nice down there. But the water clarity we get, like Horseshoe, we hope to dive Horseshoe, and lakes like that, which are, you know, pretty gin clear this time of year. We're going to get some very interesting footage.
Yeah, so, you know, finally from me, if you have got anything you want to share with us, if you've got any questions, just fire them in. And if it's a question that we can turn into a feature, then we will do, because, you know, it's not just about answering a question. If it's a question we actually think, do you know what, we could do a feature on that, we will put it, you know, we might answer the question, but we'll park it to one side and bring it up as a feature on a later date, because it might answer your question, but if we can put it over a 3 or 4 page feature to describe it in more detail, then we'll be looking to do that as well. So yeah, so get your questions in. If you want to become a little bit of a feature writer, give us a shout as well, and we can talk you through that. And then just get involved in the competitions. They're all free. I'm not allowed to enter though, but they are free.
The irony is we've had thousands of downloads of the magazine, and only about a 10% hit rate on people entering. They're all free. They are literally all drawn at random. You're in with a shout, and obviously team members already have a load of competitions on the team page, but this is just an expansion. I thought it was good to have these competitions, because who doesn't like a chance of winning? And hence why the questions are very easy. It's all good fun. Will is just saying here he 100% agrees with me that fish have different personalities, and yeah, they do, you know. And the irony, I suppose, is, isn't it, if you look at it over the years, you've seen certain big fish being given a name, and therefore it's like a dog. You suddenly has personality, even though it's just a name. But you get a little fish, and you don't really think about that. But that little fish could one day be a hooly-pooly fish. So Ian Brookman is saying watercraft is always a contentious issue. Yeah, I think contentious. I think the trouble is it shouldn't be, because there's so many variables. I mean, I know specifically from my wreck fishing or my fly fishing, you can go to a wreck, for example, one day, fish, you know, dragging lures or perks or whatever, and so I go back the next day, everything seems the same, can't catch anything, and then you see on the fish finder there is nothing there. Trout fishing especially, you could go, say, fish on an Invicta, slow drop, whatever, however you're going to retrieve it. You go back the next day, everything seems the same, and the fish are there. You can see the fish are there, but they will go nowhere near your Invicta, and so therefore you're having to change all the time. And it's all about having that ability to change. and recognise when you need to be changing watercraft. It's a very, very, I think it's the one area of fishing that you can't buy. It will only ever come with experience, and even then you'll never fully understand it, because there's so many variables on so many different venues, whatever species, you know, fresh or seawater. So but like he says, you know, do reach out to us if you've got ideas. We only want it to be a pleasant read. We want it to be informative. If there's things that you would like us to write about or like us to focus, just reach out to Keith and we'll be more than happy. The more we all work together, I suppose, the better we can make the magazine, because we're going to make it interesting. And I say the big thing for us, because we don't have to appease an advertiser with a contrived feature in any way, shape or form. We can talk about all and everything, and that's what I think is particularly exciting for me and for Keith. We don't have that, you know, cosh being held over us. We'll go wherever you want us to go with the magazine.
Yeah, there's no handcuffs with us. We're not, you know,
no gun to the head. And like I say, it's all about enjoying the sport, and if we can all work together to help, especially newcomers, children, you know, more women get into fishing, more people generally get into fishing. As a trade insider, I generally worry that fishing is going not the way I'd like to see it go. There's less and less people fishing each year, and more I look at my kids, they're all blown up zombies all the time. They wouldn't even, you know, and I've got fishing lakes, and you just think, each to their own, but any way we can kind of get more and more anglers involved, I think it can only be a good thing. But Keith,
we're not going to be looking. Sorry, but yeah, and that's why we're not focused on carp. We're not a carp magazine. So I know the narrative out there, and it's all about big fish, and you know, and I was part of that, to be honest. When I caught my PB, I wanted to catch a bigger PB and bits and pieces. But then I caught a catfish, and then the other day I caught a gudgeon, and you know what? I hadn't seen a gudgeon for 20 years. I couldn't believe I saw one, and I caught two. So it's not just about the big fish. We want it to be about the magazine is a read for everyone, not for the carp angler. Now, again, there's plenty of good carp anglers out there running their own sort of YouTube channels and bits and pieces if you want to sort of catch up with those sort of people. But for us, it's more about the enjoyment of the sport. And if you catch a hoochie boochie fish, as one would say, brilliant. You know, but equally, if you know the zander I saw the other day, I've never seen a zander. So, you know,
I'll tell you what we do have. We have Paddy, who owns the print business, which is our clothing supplier. He's really into it. He's got a boat on the Ouse, and he's really into his zander. And I have tapped him up about the possibility of you going and having a little session with him, because he really knows his stuff. Very, very good angler. So lots of exciting stuff to come.
Yes.
But no, it's going to be interesting. But no, thanks, Keith, for coming on tonight. I mean, we'll do this, you know, every month or so. Get you popping in, giving us a proper update, because you're the man under the hood. And like I say, folks, it's for all of us. There's no ego trip. There's nothing contrived. If we can create something, yes, it might be different than what else is out there, and I think that's what is important. So yeah. Just shout out. You can always contact me, but reality, Keith is the man at the helm, so do shout out to him.
Yeah, more than welcome.
Right, well, I'm going to get Tinny to draw the competition, and then I have to. Oh, it's absolutely thrashing down with rain here. Absolutely thrashing down. Robert's saying, I love getting down to the canals and rivers with my float. Yeah, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, we're going to do
we're going to go back to. The thing is, if you look at some of the stuff I used to do, yes, we'll come to Canada. Yeah, well, once we get a little bit bigger, me and Keith will drag over to Canada and go and dive off Vince's pontoon. That would be mega interesting. But yes, sorry, Robert, going back to, I mean, I can remember like dapping for bleak on the Trent and things like that. And I had amazing days fun. And every now and again, you get a bigger fish come along and take your caster off the surface, and chaos will ensue. And I think that's another thing. I know, you know, a big part of that will be just about the enjoyment of fishing. I mean, the main feature we did this month was that trip to the awesome Top Cats over in Thailand, and it was just the memories that's created, you know, and that's what I think I aim to do, basically create these memories that we can all look back into. So have you seen Bute Canal today, Pom? No, is it flooded? What's happened? Disaster that's happened at Bute Canal. We do have this tiny bit of canal down here in Bute. And Keith, can you I've just got to go and get the winner. So if you can just keep that conversation going, I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, no problem. Now, Pom's gone. I can talk to you about all the technical stuff that we've been talking about. So, so we are going to try and get across onto all of the channels, if you like, all at the same time as well. Now, it's something I'm looking into, whether we can get onto TikTok, whether we can get onto YouTube, and the 2 Palatrax pages all at the same time. Takes a little bit working out, so it won't be for probably 6 to 8 weeks if I can work it out. And then once we do that, we might also venture into doing a midweek sort of podcast thing, where there may be, and I need to talk to Pom because he's obviously the owner of Palatrax, but there may be an opportunity for you to tune in, and we're going to try and put some barcodes or QR codes, they're called, on the screen for you to screenshot, and that will take you to a product exclusive at a discount. Now that's Pom's now going, what do you mean? But we have talked about it, but it's a bit technical.
Yeah, wait,
wait
there and out there. And,
that's what happened to mine though, Pom. It went through my head. But yeah, so we are looking at maybe in the future, and it will take a few weeks, but if we can get something like this, but you prefer if you was on a computer, or borrow your wife's phone, but or partner's phone, it doesn't matter. We'll try and chuck some QR codes up so you can scan them. They'll be up for like 45 seconds. If you scan them, it takes you straight to the website, and there's a mega deal coming, or potentially a mega deal depending on how Pom's feeling on the night. So we're looking at doing stuff like that, so some real sort of technical stuff coming. Purely and simply, it's on the back of this magazine. Where I've been looking into other things, I've actually come across some things that I think A, are quite fun, and B, are quite interesting. So that might just be my own personal view, but hopefully you'll join us should we do our own sort of, I think someone mentioned QVC shopping channel. It's not going to be like that, but it's similar to that.
Yeah, if we can bring things to the party, that's what we intend to do. And on that note, we do have a rod company that's looking like it's going to do a major competition for a very expensive rod soon. That's not a Palatrax rod, by the way, but it's a very, very high quality rod. I'm also talking to another company today that approached me and so the more competitions, the merrier, because we could just keep adding the pages. It's not, it's nothing that's difficult for us. And I believe, I'm speaking to Dinsmore's, for example. He's happy to get involved, and other people within the trade. So I think more competitions we can have, which is even better. So yeah, it's all. Oh, what's this? Some canals being wrecked. Oh dear me. Some Ustream, it thinks it's called. Anthony's saying about is that what was the thing you were looking at? Restream, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anthony's just said about multiple platforms.
Yeah. Yeah, it is called Restream.
Restream. I think that's probably the same thing, Anthony. This man, he's on fire. Right, now we have the winner of tonight. So the winner will get. Actually, I have to do it this way around. When I stand by, turn the camera around. That's all going to be changing soon as well, apparently. I don't know. But tonight's winner, so they're going to win their first ever prize of. How do I do it again? This is always a sad thing. There we go. Oh, so live feed winner is Billy Joe Weir. So well done, Billy Joe. You've won the new Eagle Wave hooks in 6, 8s and 10s. Just please drop where you sent your Facebook thingy to. Send your details, and we will get that off to you. So Billy Joe, congratulations. Well, Keith, I think we'll both be here at the same time because I've got to be somewhere.
Just one other thing, Pom. The 3 winners this month for Ask the Editor. So you will be receiving your Palatrax vouchers in the next couple of days. So I've sent the details through to you, Pom. So we just need to ping their vouchers off to them. Obviously, it's been a bit delayed because my internet access this current day. But yeah, so they'll be winging their way to the 3 winners, and congratulations to them.
Fantastic. Well, I think we'll both say goodbye from him and goodbye from you, or whatever it is. So thanks for being here tonight. Thanks so much for Keith for popping in, giving us his time, and we'll be back with our live feed next week on the the team page. So do pop in. But between now and then, any questions? You know, we're a company or a brand. Sorry.
Between now and then, join the team.
Yeah, join the team. Yeah, I just finish off on this. I mean, I started the team a few years ago now, and with no expectations, just to collect a group of people like-minded. And to be fair, it's just really been word of mouth. And we're now, like I say, just shy of 4,000 anglers from all over the world. We've got fisheries involved. We've got it's kind of amazing, and it's done again with no hidden agenda. It's totally transparent. Current team members can tell you it's all about what we can do, and also what I would say is what we will be doing. You know, the bigger Palatrax gets, the more I want to put back into the whole kind of, well, this sport's given me and I suggest all of us so much, and so the more we can put back into it and make happen, so it's exciting. And the more members we've got, the more potential we've got to grow it in different directions. So always feel free to join. Any questions about it, but please be rest assured there's not a hidden agenda. It generally doesn't cost. As Keith says, it's a bit of a no-brainer. I mean, I can imagine some people being cynical and reticent to get involved because what is the trap? But there isn't one, and that's the shame, I suppose, in today's age, that you know, we all like that. We can all be cynical, thinking, well, there's got to be something dodgy going on. But what happens if there isn't? Assume nothing, and obviously question everything. But do join, do come and join us, because it's getting bigger, it's getting more exciting. But Keith, best to you and your family. I'm out of here. Best to everybody who's been here tonight. Thanks ever so much, and we'll see you again soon.
Yep, lovely. Take care.
Cheers, folks.